If you're in Europe, you probably thought that apart from Europe, only Africa and a part of South America is suffering from desertification. But this is wrong. China is also. What is causing it? How is China mitigating it? Just sit back and watch this video till the end. Before we move on, you should know some things about China. First, do you know one of the biggest deserts in the world is in China? Yes, the Gobi Desert. But that's not all. While much of China is covered in great buildings, sophisticated skyscrapers, and greenlands, do you know that not every square inch of China is either? To be specific, over 24.7% of Chinese land is desertified already. Moreover, do you know that over 400 million people live on this land? Now, let's quickly turn to the causes of this desertification. The biggest driver of desertification anywhere in the world, as some researchers would attest to, is climate change. With the Earth's surface warming faster and faster, everything has been getting worse every day. Some parts of the Earth are so robust that they cannot be just severely damaged. Not the same thing for China. The direct result of climate change, such as decreased precipitation, can make soil dry. We know that dry soil is prone to erosion, which makes dunes lose their vegetation, the outer layer that should protect the soil extremely well. If it were that alone, the land could still be suitable for use, but not in this case, as other things make that far impossible. There are also physical drivers. One is the rain-fed agricultural systems. Another is the irrigation system in China. Most people have declared them poor. What about farmers' activities on the land? What do farmers believe about land use? Another thing is the need for more water. In most lands that are getting desertified, it has not really been raining, and there have been no good means of transferring water to the area. Since there is no way to solve it, the lands are becoming desertified. But what are the impacts of desertification? Why should we be concerned? Many people in China have been displaced due to the direct results of desertification. In the first place are farmers, who, because they've lost their farmlands to the burgeoning expansion of desertification, ran away from the villages they have been staying in. These people then become added refugees to other villages or areas they go to. Sometimes they add less to the new areas and then become a liability to the area. The others that didn't go to China's inland went to other countries, and they have been constituted the greatest number of climate refugees. Countries in partnership with the United Nations have been catering to them. This is, first, some resources that can be distributed to other parts of the world. They could be used, for instance, in making things work in other places, in fighting more imminent needs, but because of the desertification, they've become the responsibility of others. They have become what scientists call climate refugees. Moreover, the Chinese government considers the conversion of their citizens to refugees a sign of weakness. Being a country that cares so much about self-image has always been challenging for the government. By the time we look at the impact of the actions of the government of China to contain this scenario, we would see how the self-image has been motivating them to action. Apart from that, those who were not forced to leave their home have been forced to stay with sandstorms. Much more than that, they are risking their lives. These people who have chosen to stay behind suffer even much more than this. They suffer food shortages, they sell a lot of things, and the aid from the government has been little. It has always been that. A good example of this scenario is what happened in Beijing in 2021. Sandstorms engulfed it. The sandstorm didn't stop there. It extended to central China. It has been calculated that this sandstorm covers about 380 million hectares of land in 12 Chinese provinces. The direct results could have been better. Most people's external organs were badly destroyed, and others' internal organs, such as respiratory systems, were badly wounded. The Chinese government spent a lot just to get those people back to normalcy. This is the situation in China presently. What has the Chinese government been doing? In 1978, China launched the Great Green Wall Project. Totaled to be about $8 billion, it was an attempt to bring greatness back to China. And the area most focused on is the desert part of China, It is to plant millions of trees in northern China, about 280 to 456 miles of that land. China expects to reach it by 2050. The goal is to help combat desertification and absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Apart from that, planting trees would help the government fight hard soil erosion, thereby decreasing the desertification rate. As we have pointed out earlier, a recent report by the Chinese Academy of Sciences has shown that the project is ahead of schedule, with its coverage in the area increasing from 5 to 13.5% of the 15 targets. Currently, 7.88 million hectares of windbreak trees have been planted. Thus, 336,200 square kilometers of desertification have been reversed. Even more intriguing, more than 10 million hectares of greenlands have been protected or restored over the past 4 decades simultaneously. First, the use of monocultures. Many environmentalists have pointed out that monoculture has not been helping, as it degrades the environment by reducing species biodiversity while still allowing plants or diseases to spread. Second, some have also pointed out that the Chinese government that encouraged farmers to plant trees has yet to be working on maintaining it. Many plant trees during the celebration and never maintain them, so they die. Therefore, the United Nations has advised the Chinese government to focus on quality rather than quantity. Since the government is serious about it, they have adopted both without actually going against the other. They interweave both of them. China needs to be sleeping on its success. They have been working harder than ever to make the process even faster. It is now paid off as they have a new weapon in their arsenal. The lucky turnaround came as a result of new special technology. Developed by researchers at Chongqing University in China, it can turn deserts into arable land. This technology employs plant cellulose pacing, which can, to a great extent, give nutrients to the desert sands and increase its ability to retain water minerals, air microbes, and nutrients necessary for plant growth. The paste was applied to a 1.6 hex sandy air plot. On the other hand, in the Ulambu Desert of Mongolia Autonomous Region, in a speed as fast as if it were done by magic, the plot gradually transformed into a productive farmland capable of producing tomatoes, rice, watermelon, sunflowers, and kernel. According to the professor from Jiaotong University, Yang Changyu, the cost of artificial materials and machines for transforming sand into soil is less than that of controlled environmental architecture and reclamation plants. The result is that the sandy plot's crop yields were enormous compared to arable lands using the same amount of water as crops grown on arable soils. Moreover, the fertilizer required to produce crops was less than what is normally required for vegetable growth on other soils. This study and its findings were done by Yi Jian and Zhao Zhouhua and were published in the English Language Engineering magazine by the Chinese Academy of Engineering. It later led to them being featured in the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. What has now happened with other countries, and what are they also doing? China's unique battle and war against desertification have motivated some other countries to follow. In fact, it has made some of them believe in their ability to conquer it. For example, a Norwegian scientist, Christine Morten Olesen, developed liquid nanoclay, or LINC, a special treatment for sand that can change the dry character of the sand particles by coating them with clay and allowing them to hold water. According to Allison, this method can make any low-quality land to be quickly turned into high-quality soil performance desert control. Olsen's company collaborated with the Dubai International Center for Biosaline Agriculture, ICBA, to conduct laboratory and field experiments to demonstrate the potential of the Chinese device in transforming UAE's desert lands into lush and fertile regions. Another place motivated by China is Dubai. Being a place known for desertification, they have been looking at the actions of the Chinese. One innovator from the United Arab Emirates, Fashil Al-Samari, experimented with cultivating 2 lands, one treated with LNC and the other not. He would later find out that LNC-treated land used only 81 cubic meters of water to grow crops, compared to 137 cubic meters on untreated land. Also, the UAE government sees LNC as an opportunity to increase food security in the country. The government probably gained confidence in this because of the initial success of the desert control plans to expand its production of nano clay to further speed up the reforestation process of the desert in the UAE. Well, if you're thinking about what we're thinking, you probably think all UAE countries are included. For example, Egypt is another country with a large desert area. Don't let us have a large desert area, but a desert area of 90%. But since the Arabian brothers have been successful, they too are determined to contain desertification and convert their arid land into fertile land. Because of this, Egypt has engaged in many afforestation and desertification projects over the years, including using nanoclay and forming compost soil. A good example is the Seraphim Forestry Project, which has been used to treat wastewater to plant trees on 200 hectares of desert land. They always continued there and have started to consider similar projects in the coming years to generate more fertile land for agricultural operations, nicknamed after the Indian forest men Payung. Well, India too. Javar Payung is worthy of being mentioned here. He has, among other things, transformed a barren wasteland in Assam, India, Meji Island, into a blossoming forest spanning 550 hectares of land. He probably began planting trees as a teenager to prevent soil erosion and continued doing so for 40 years. He's not stopping anytime soon. Moreover, he has expanded his work by partnering with Teak Foundations, an NGO, to plant 7 million trees in Mexico over the next few years, according to their stated goals. By the way things are going, should we actually end desertification and end all deserts? We think not so. First, part of those natural things that regulate global temperature are deserts. If we get rid of them all, how will we regulate them? Moreover, do you know that its dryness favors the concentrated formation of beneficial minerals such as potassium, borite, gypsum, nitrate, and more? So if all the deserts on our planet were to disappear, the Earth's climate would almost certainly not be sustainable. We've come to the end of today's video. Thanks for watching till the end. What discovery did you find most shocking? Do you think we could win the war against deforestation with what China has shown? Let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more. Thanks!